Welcome back to Think Thrice Problem Solving. Today we're going to be solving a really fun functional problem. So if we look at our equation here, so we want to find a function f of x if f of x plus f of 1 over x plus 3f of negative x is equal to x. So if you'd like to give this a try, go ahead and pause the video and take a shot. Otherwise, we're going to jump straight into a solution. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to call this first equation equation number 1. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to say, let's look at this equation, but instead of x, let's use x star is equal to 1 over x. So let's basically just plug in 1 over x instead of x everywhere. So if we do that, we get our second equation. We're going to get f of 1 over x plus f of 1 over x, which is x, plus 3f of negative 1 over x is equal to 1 over x. All right, let's do something similar here. So if I choose a different x star, so let's choose x star is equal to negative x. That's going to give us our third equation. So we're going to take f of x star now, which is negative x, plus f of 1 over x star, which is going to be negative 1 over x, plus 3f of x is equal to negative x. So we have our third equation in the books. And lastly, let's take a look at a fourth equation. So let's now make x star equal to negative 1 over x. And that'll give us f of negative 1 over x plus f of negative x plus 3 times f of 1 over x is equal to negative 1 over x. Okay, so we now have 4 equations, and we notice that we have 4 unknowns as well. So what do we not know? So what we don't know are f of x, f of negative x, f of 1 over x, and f of negative 1 over x. So we have 4 unknowns. So this is actually a linear system of equations on the left side. And we're solving, obviously, with nonlinear terms on the right. So let's solve this system of equations here. So what we're going to do first is we're going to take equation number 1, and we're going to subtract equation number 2. So if I take 1 and subtract number 2, we're going to look here. I'm going to take f of x minus f of x. So those two cancel. F of 1 over x and f of 1 over x cancel. So I'm really going to get I'm going to end up with 3f of negative x minus 3f of negative 1 over x is equal to x minus 1 over x. All right, so that's an interesting little output there. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take equation 3 and subtract equation number 4. And similarly, when I do that, I'm going to have f of negative x minus f of negative x, f of negative 1 over x minus f of negative 1 over x. So I'm going to be left with 3f of x minus 3f of 1 over x is equal to negative x plus 1 over x, which just so happens to be the opposite of this guy, x minus 1 over x. So those terms are actually exactly opposite. So what does that tell me? That tells me this very interesting result that f of negative x plus f of negative 1 over x is equal to negative f of sorry, that's a minus sign, sorry. F of x minus, negative x minus f of negative 1 over x is equal to negative f of x minus f of 1 over x. So if I move some things around, I can move this guy and this guy to the left. I'm going to end up with f of negative x plus f of x is equal to f of 1 over x plus f of negative 1 over x. Okay, so this is an interesting little thing that we're definitely going to use in a second here. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do something similar, but now I'm going to take equation 1 and add it to equation 3. So if I take 1 and add it to 3, I'm going to add up getting f of x plus 3f of x. So I'm going to get 4f of x plus, I'm going to get f of 1 over x plus 3f of negative x plus f of negative x, so plus 4f of negative x plus f of negative 1 over x, and that's going to be equal to x minus x, which is 0. All right, so we're going to use what we just did. So I'm going to see that I have f of negative x plus f of x. So let's go ahead and write this equation as 4 times f of x plus f of negative x plus, so that's using these two guys. I can also see that I have f of 1 over x plus that, so I'm going to take these two guys and call this f of 1 over x plus f of negative 1 over x. And that all is going to be equal to 0. But I know that these two guys are equal. So this guy and this guy are equivalent. So I really have 5 times f of x plus f of negative x is equal to 0, which tells me that f of x is equal to negative f of negative x. All right, so that's a pretty good little thing here. And what that also tells us, since that's equal to f of negative x plus f of x is now equal to 0, so that means that f of 1 over x plus f of negative 1 over x is 0. So that means that f of 1 over x plus f of negative 1 over x, or sorry, is we're going to have f of 1 over x is equal to negative f of negative 1 over x. Okay, so what can we do now? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make two new equations, which I'm going to call equations 5 and 6. So equation 5, so for equation number 5, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do f of x, and basically I'm going to take this top equation and I'm going to subtract this equation number 3, but I'm going to rewrite these equations. So this first equation, if I have f of x plus 3f of negative x, then that means I'm going to have negative 2 f of x plus f of 1 over x is equal to x. Okay, so that's from the first equation. So we're just going to use the first equation down here. I'm trying to change the way that I'm doing this a little bit. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our second equation. So in our second equation, remember f of 1 over x is equal to negative f of negative 1 over x. So what we're going to get is we're going to get f of x plus f of 1 over x minus 3 f of 1 over x, which is going to be negative. I'm going to get minus 2 f of 1 over x is going to be equal to 1 over x. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take equation 2 times equation 5 and add it to equation 6. And when I do that, I'm going to end up getting negative 2 f of x plus f of x. So I'm going to end up getting, negative 4, sorry, so negative 4 of f of x plus f of x plus 2f of 1 over x minus 2f of 1 over x is going to be equal to 2x plus 1 over x. So some interesting things happen. So these two guys cancel. And what I'm left with is negative 3 f of x is equal to 2x plus 1 over x divided by negative 3. Or sorry, not yet, not divided by negative 3. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide out this negative 3. And what I'm going to end up with now is f of x is equal to 2x plus 1 over x over negative 3. And I can rewrite that as 2x squared plus 1 divided by negative 3x. And there are other ways I can do this. Obviously, it's a little cleaner if I pull that negative sign to the numerator. So my final answer here is going to be f of x is equal to negative 2x squared minus 1 over 3x. And that is going to be the function that leads us to the equation above. So I hope you enjoyed working through that with me. If you did, please hit that like button and subscribe. As you're working through problems on your own, think once, think twice, and when you get stuck, think thrice.